I'm D'Angela.
And we're work spouses. Yep, you heard it right. But not the type that you're thinking of.
We realize you spend more time with people at work than you do with the people you love most.
We're going to discuss the interactions such as the games played at work, building the right and avoiding the wrong relationships. D'Angela and I, we're currently work spouses.
Join us each week as we testify, help, and complain about work in corporate America. Welcome back, co-workers. Woo! You know, today is 2/20/2020.
Okay, it's twos and O's.
Yes.
Okay.
I just wanted to say that. Okay.
Okay, that's all you want to say.
Let's get started.
Let's get started. Let's get started with
The cocktail of this evening is called the cocktail.
That's what's called the
cocktail. Cocktail.
Oh, okay, the cocktail. Okay.
And it has 2-ounce vodka, elderflower,
Okay.
liqueur,
Okay.
1 ounce of blood orange liqueur.
Like blood orange, anything.
Well, I'm trying to finish up the blood orange stuff, which is not probably going to get finished because I have a lot of it.
Gotcha.
And then the Angostura bitters. This is popular bitters that they have.
Okay.
And club soda. I didn't garnish with blood orange because of how the large size of our cups. So.
Ready to go?
Well, I poured yours already because it needed club soda in there.
Okay.
And again, you don't shake up club soda.
Okay.
So we can cheers, and then I'll pour myself club soda. Cheers!
There we go.
Ooh, we got to be careful because
we're gonna break it.
we're gonna break something.
Oh, that's strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a 2-ounce vodka. I was like, that's a lot of vodka for one drink.
Mm-hmm.
You need some more club soda. I'm gonna get some more club soda.
Okay, that's what that is.
That's why I.
Oh, okay, I saw you.
Are you looking for alcohol? No, I was not pouring alcohol in your glass.
Oh yeah, cause I
that's
saw you
club
like,
soda.
What's she doing?
I didn't shake it up. The stuff that was already in your cup, I had to shake up with ice.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, it's balanced now.
And it called for 4-ounce club soda, but I don't like my drink that strong. I mean, I don't like it that diluted.
So before we get into our episode, so we're on our 19th episode. We're moving.
Yes,
and,
we are. Oh, how cool would it have been if it was the 20th episode on 2020?
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
That would have been nice. And today's topic is being number 2. That's
no. That's
a little different thing. Yeah, being number 2. Some people are happy being number 2.
That's true.
But we're going to get into that. But before we get into that, was there something that you wanted to?
No. How was your weekend?
Okay.
It was Valentine's Day. It was like a holiday weekend. It was Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was Valentine's Day weekend. So what we were able to do is me and my wife, we actually got away and went to a hotel for 2 days without the kids. So it was one of those perfect getaways because we just really wanted to rest. Watched the All-Star Slam Dunk contest and
that did come on.
Yeah, stuff like that. But mainly just chill in the hotel room with the wife and just be able to laugh.
Oh, how romantic!
Still, so that was that's probably just the highlight of it.
Okay.
Really. Yeah. How about you? What about you for Valentine's Day?
My weekend was eventful.
Yeah, because you're a single person. With married people,
Excuse me?
Okay, so
what
was the eventful? Tell me about that.
Because it was not planned. I had no plans. No concrete plans, rather. And typically my weekends that are usually eventful are the ones where I have no concrete plans, which is so interesting. Because even when I have plans, I'm like, oh, looking forward to checking this out because it's always something new. It's not like something continuous or just the same. So on Friday, it was Valentine's Day.
Right.
Friday was the Valentine's Day of last week. And my girlfriend and I went to, a few of us, we had saw 2 weeks prior to Valentine's a day that there was going to be the singles event that was taking place sponsored by Bumble, which is the swiping that you did in the last episode.
We're gonna get into that too. Yeah.
So it was from that episode, from that app. they had sponsored an event at this place called 12 Stories down at the wharf, which is a really nice place with a nice room, with a nice view. So the place, it only goes up to the 12th story. Like, there's no other floors from there. Okay. So I think that's why they call it 12 Stories. Yeah. So we went there for a singles event, or so we thought. But it was like couples there.
There?
Yeah, it was couples there. So, but either way, we had a good time, though. Yeah. So that was kind of my weekend. And
what was the highlight of your weekend?
Just enjoying the vibes.
Just enjoying the vibes. Okay.
I mean, it was eventful only because it was just like interesting things. I was attracting interesting people. At the singles event, I was there with my girlfriends. With a mission, everyone got a free drink. But apparently they reached their bar tab and we couldn't get our drink when we got there.
Gotcha. So last week, okay, go ahead.
Oh wait, yeah, So then I ended up getting caught up with these two guys bringing me drinks at the same time, at a point in the night, and I was like, "What is happening here?"
That's not bad. Okay,
it's not bad, but it is when the two people are approaching you and you don't know either one of them.
So both of them are coming from different angles, and they arrive at the same time.
Yes.
So then, how do they look at each other and it's like?
He's like, "Oh, what's happening here?" And I'm like, "What you see?" Like, I don't know what to tell you.
So then, how that handle? That's good.
I was just like, oh, hey, hi. Like, I was just really like coy about it.
Okay,
like,
so you accept both drinks.
I was like, yeah. I was like, oh, well, thank you. He was like, I was coming to, because that one guy had talked to while I was at the bar, and I was getting my drink, and he was like, all right, if I see you around, I see you again, I'm gonna come and get you a drink. I said, okay. You'll just have to find me around. You know, like, he didn't give me a drink. He didn't buy me a drink at that time. So I guess he found me, but by the time that he found me, there was another guy bringing me a drink over.
So then, did like one of them like?
They were both there at the same time.
Okay, so they're at the same time. So then, was there like an alpha dog that somebody just stepped up and hey?
Yeah, the one who had a drink. It was another guy. He was like, "Here you go." He was like, "She good." I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "I don't know what's happening here."
So then, when he said she's good, the guy that got told that, what did he do? Did he back down or?
He was like, am I interrupting something? And that's what he said. I was like, I mean,
you're like,
I was like, oh, hey. I kind of ignored the question. I was like, yeah, hey. I was like, oh, you're good. Yeah, thank you. You know, like.
Yeah. Did you have a preference, or you were just like, whoever? Let's see.
I didn't want either one of them.
Oh.
But I didn't find either one of them to be attractive in the way that I would like. But it was just an interesting series of events.
It's a cold game. Yeah.
It just happened.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I didn't know what to say or what to do. What was
so when somebody buys you a drink or brings you a drink, do you feel obligated to at least like give them 5 minutes of your time or what? Like, what is the rule? Or
yeah, I'll talk to them. I mean, why not?
Okay.
So that was just my eventful. Two guys at the bar approaching me with drinks at the same time.
I mean, that's competitive, and that's.
I don't know if that's competitive. That's probably in a very awkward situation. I've been in many awkward situations, but that one was one of a kind.
I mean, I think that's. I mean, for the guy to say she's good, or we good, or what do you think?
One guy was like, he had like my drink. Like he had the drink in the hand on the right of me, and the other guy was like in front of me because I was sitting down at this like but it was like bar stools, and he approached me. He was like, "Here's your drink. Here you go." Yeah. And the other guy was like, "Oh, he didn't have a drink, so he was like going to get my drink." Okay. So he came and was like, what's going on?" Like he was kind of like confused. So I was just like, I'm. Hey, thanks. Like, oh, you made your way back over, or you made your way to me. Like, he found me. I just thought it was interesting that he came and to me at the time, like afterwards. And like the entire time I was there by myself and nobody was there. Or, it's just interesting that they came at the exact same time.
And none of them was able to capture your phone number?
No, I got up and I went to the dance floor or something. I just walked away.
It's a cold world. Okay. So
it's dating. Yeah. I mean.
Yeah, it is dating. So speaking of dating, okay, last week we did the dating app. And I swiped. I specifically swiped, I think 3 people. Yeah,
one so to give you the results, there was a connection with one of the persons. Okay. Because there was a few of them, but one of them I connected with, and I think you swiped, and I started talking to him, and then we started chatting, and then when I went back, I saw that he unmatched me after chatting. I was like, okay, that's cool. I wasn't really that interested because he was saying some crazy stuff.
Right.
And then it was another guy that I matched with, but I don't know if he responded or not. I need to check the app. I haven't checked the app.
So it's not, so the app is not nothing that you look at like daily.
I mean, I just think the app is a little weird. Like I really enjoy meeting people like out and about. Mm-hmm. I don't really like online dating, although yes, I know I'm within the millennial, bracket, but I don't like. I'm the higher millennial on the bracket. Okay. I'm not the lower millennial on the scale. So I'm still used to like authentic court me, see me at the bar. Hey girl, hey, yep, come over here. Let me get your number. I like a confident man. You can't tell if they confident online.
True. Okay.
So
that's okay.
Right?
Yeah, so unfortunately, so you got unmatched because you probably said something wrong.
No, there was a person who got unmatched too.
Okay.
Because he was like 5'6". I was like, what is David doing? I was like, let me unmatch him. No.
It's a cold game for the short people. Yeah.
You said I did something wrong. That's why I was unmatched with the other guy. Yeah. Probably. Yeah. It's okay. You win some, you lose some.
Keeping it too real.
I'm not keeping it too real. Is the such thing as keeping it too real? Yes. No.
I think so.
So let's move on.
Okay.
So today's topic is about being number 2.
Yeah.
Have you ever been number 2?
I'm sure. I think I've probably been a number 2 before.
You think? Do you absolutely know? Because I feel like everyone is not know if they're number 2.
I mean, you are number 2 by nature if you're messing with somebody who is
taken.
Married. Is taken. Yeah. Right. So you're number 2 by nature. Right. Some people look at number 2 like, oh, there's lots of ways to be
to define number 2.
To be
That's what I was
going
to say. Right. Let's define number 2. Because when I think of number 2, I think of a side chick.
Yeah. So, when we talk about number 2, the number 2 person is, we can view it as a side chick. Or even being selected number 2. Let's say.
Wait.
Like when I say being selected second, I had instance where 2 girls liked me.
Okay.
And almost so then therefore you go date one of the 2, and they were friends.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 2 friends. Yeah, it was 2 friends that liked me, and I was new to that social environment.
Okay.
And these 2 girls, they happened to like me. So what happened is I went out with the one that I was first physically more attracted to.
Oh, okay.
Went out with her, and things didn't work out. But we went out a few times. We had like many.
So the one that you was more physically attracted to, you were also developing emotional attraction too?
I mean, at some point we were cool, and I wasn't that deep in my emotions.
Okay.
At that time, I was just I'm scoping it out.
So you're just playing the feel.
Yeah, scoping out. But then I think actually that person joined like the military or something, and they just left. So then the friend,
you're number 1.
Yeah, the number 1. So then the friend kind of elevated
to number 1.
Yeah, but I wasn't.
But she didn't really elevate to number 1 because number 1 was gone. So
right,
she was the only one.
Right. So therefore, she got selected at the 2 spot. So now, knowing that you were not the initial choice, how does that impact you? How does it impact the friend?
Was she privy to you dating her friend? Okay.
Yes,
wow.
She knew that. I was dating her friend. So then now it's like the friend's gone. So now I'm not forced to where I have to start a relationship with you. There's millions of girls. But however, we were still hanging around the same social setting.
Right.
So I would see her and things like that. We kicked something off. And, how did it make her feel knowing that she was not my initial choice? Like, have you ever been in a position where you were not the first?
I don't.
Yeah, I mean, cause that's very rare.
I don't know if I wasn't the first choice, but I can assume that I haven't been the first choice. Okay. I feel like especially when you're dating, I feel like you don't know if you're number 1, 2, 3, or 4. I just assume that there's others. I automatically assume others off break. Like I already think that I'm not the only one.
Or even
unless you tell me that.
Okay, how about this? Even a situation. Let's say you meet somebody and they're like, "Oh, I'm just coming out of a relationship," right?
Oh, okay.
And
then they're not emotionally available.
But then they say, they want to talk to you, but then they end up going back to their relationship. Then no, that's not working out. They end up coming back to you.
Oh no.
So that's another instance where you're not the first selection.
Oh, wait a minute, have I?
Right.
Wait, I might have been. Well, it was actually I was the relationship, and they left the other person, then came back to me.
Okay. Okay.
So does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I was the relationship. They left, went to someone else, and then they left and then tried to come back to me.
Okay.
And I was like, no.
Right. I mean, but being number two is not always a bad thing.
It's not. The thing is,
benefits.
my point is that.
Okay, go ahead.
I think that you don't know if you're number two. You could be more than number two. Know. You could be like 5.
Correct. You don't know that you're number 2.
No, you don't know unless you ask. And if someone's that honest to tell you, because people can still lie and pretend you're number 1 and you're actually number 4.
Yeah. But okay,
who's that honest unless they legit want to make their expectations clear so that you won't have any additional boundaries for them as to like, hey, I want a relationship. Well, I'm really just kicking it. I really don't want anything. Like that's a person who want you to understand. Don't put me in this box because I do not want nothing serious. You know, so don't play yourself. Basically,
right. I mean, because there's like even this instance, from childhood, we put in positions where we are not the first selected. Let's say you tried. Okay, you were.
I'm the first boy.
Okay.
Boom.
Let's say they're guys. They try out for basketball teams. They're girls. They try out for cheerleading. They try out for USB or ASB.
Competitive sports. Okay.
Sports or something like that. Or they put an application in for some social event or for a job, and they weren't selected first, and they know that, but somebody got hurt or somebody fell out of a
line and they
out of line or somebody, something happened where they were no longer considered, and you got called in to fill the role, almost like an understudy in a play or something like that.
Like underdog. Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't have a problem with numbers because.
Okay, you don't have a problem being the second selected.
Yeah, because it's not something. I guess it depends. So maybe I should clean this up a little bit.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on what I'm being second to.
Okay, what is there something that you take pride in? Like,
that's a good question.
Yeah. There's basketball. We do pickup games. People stand against the wall, kick ball, and you get picked and things like that. But what's something they take pride in?
Maybe I have a syndrome of that. I haven't been picked last, so I don't know what it feels like to be last.
Right.
Or pick number. Because the thing, I don't have to be number 1. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't have to be number 1 in everything or picked or chosen. But there are some things that I do have to be number 1. Like, if I'm being exclusive with someone, I need to be number 1 and only. Okay. If I'm not, I don't care. Because if you're not treating me like number 1, I'm not going to think I'm number 1. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you've been in a setting with your homegirls, your crew, whatever, and a guy walks in, and maybe you're feeling the guy, his presence, and not only you, but your friend is, or the table is.
We going there.
Okay. And the guy, but the guy talks to your friend first before he talks to you. Does that bother you? All right.
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Okay. So, right. So those are the kind of, that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, so what is the psychological effect for people who are not actually...
I actually had something like this happen to me some time back. I met this guy and I saw him it was in my building actually. And then my neighbor and I went to an event around the corner from our building at this restaurant and he was there. Okay. I didn't recognize that it was the same guy because when I saw him initially, he had a cap on. And then when I saw him at the event, he was a little bit dressed up, like suited and booted, like after work, and he didn't have a cap on. So then I was like, oh, I know you. You the guy, that I saw in the building. He was like, yeah, that's why your face looked familiar. So we made a connection. But my neighbor who I was there with was like in his face, like, oh, he cute. I'm going to get his number. Like she already was like summing him up. I'm going to get this guy. I'm going to keep talking to him, blah, blah, blah. And I was trying to let her know that I saw him already in the building and try to say, tell him what I said because I was leaving out for an event. Right. And he saw me. He was like, oh, where you going? Well, can I go to this event? Like flirting with me. Right. So, which is the level of interest, to a extent. But I was like, oh, thank you. Da, 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 da. So, so when I saw him again and I tried to tell her, she was like so knee deep. More than knee deep, actually. She's probably like almost to the nose deep in water of like involving herself in a conversation. Like, hey, just in his face. And we started vibing, right? And we started we had a connection about music. And he like, dang, I don't really want to do that. Like he was looking at, because my friend was so aggressive, kind of like not
I got you.
Aggressive. Maybe I should say assertive.
Yeah, assertive and obvious.
She was so assertive, and I was just like, dang, I don't want to be that girl. Or I'm not that girl. Like I'm the person that if I see another guy interested in someone else around me, I'm not going to make that choice because that's what you saw something you like. You should go after it. But if I'm not that, then that's okay with me. Does that make sense? Like I'm kind of okay with how things align or how things go. I'm not going to feel like, oh, I'm number 2 or no, I wanted him. I'm like, it wasn't meant for me or he wasn't, wasn't interested. I'm okay. I guess I'm okay with accepting that I'm not going to be always chosen.
Okay.
As one.
Okay.
So.
How about in terms of work? Like, have you ever been put in a position the boss asked for everybody to do something or some type of task or something that it's a possibility that your work may not be chosen first or
I can't recall.
Or not chosen to lead a group. You're second.
I'm not. I'm sure it's happened.
Right.
But again, I'm okay.
But it doesn't bother. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. I guess I'm not. I'm competitive with myself.
Okay, gotcha.
So I'm more so like don't care to have, to feel number 2 because the thing is, I feel like when you're number 1, you're a target.
Okay.
So in a sense of work environment,
right.
and a lot of others. Right. So if you're like praised all the time, receiving accolades from the head people or top people, the people that others try to impress, you're a target because then they're going to just be like, this person keep getting this. Oh, this person, everybody like her or everybody like him. No.
So how about in relationship? What's the benefit of being number 2, being the side chick?
I want to know that too. I think the benefit is that you don't have the responsibility of emotional connection. Like you can dismiss or remove yourself from the situation because you're not emotionally involved. So it's easier for you to detach.
Okay, I got you. So it's easier, so then it could be more, the duties and the line is well defined.
Yes, because she's not trying to be number 1, or if she knows she's number 2, the position is clear as day. See, that's what I think is kind of like interesting about being a side chick is just that you know your role.
Have you ever been asked, or not asked to be a side chick, but have you ever found your position as being the side chick?
No, but I think I have been a side chick and not known.
Okay.
Right.
Right, because when you're a side chick...
How do you know?
Okay, right.
If no one ever disclosed to you or the guy doesn't disclose to me that I'm number 2.
Right. And being a side chick, you have to stay in your lane, too. And stay within your scope.
But you will because you're number 2 and you know it. But if you're not number 2 and you want more, you'll start to see like how he's addressing you or how he's not addressing you. Because I feel like if you're number 2, it's like you have limited time with him or he's overly guarded, about not giving you personal details about his life. It's like very surface all the time. Or he never shows you off or take you out.
Right. Yeah.
You could
be just limited to a Netflix and chill.
Yeah, right. Basically. Yeah. So it's just like you kind of know your role as number 2.
Okay.
So, I mean, now if a woman was number 2 and try to be the main chick, that's a whole nother situation.
Right. Yeah.
That's a whole nother situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think? What as a guy, since you dealt with this number 1, number 2, but I'm sure you have dealt with it in your adult life versus just being a kid at that younger age of the story that you told us. What would be your advice to a side chick who wanted to be the main chick?
You really can't. I mean,
you can't. You don't think you can elevate to number 1?
I mean, an agreement is an agreement. I mean, can you ever? But like, if you get elevated to number 1, would you ever have that trust that there's no?
Well, that's the game you play.
Number 2.
That's the game you play, though. See, if you know you're number 2 and you want to be number 1, you should already know also the risk that you take.
Yeah, because if a guy has a number 2, what are the reasons why? Is it just the physical attribute sex, or is it that the main chick has a bad temper, we can't really talk, guard it.
But then that's going into figuring out then why exactly he's not.
Right. Like, why is he sick?
Yeah, why he's dealing with you instead of at home with
if we be honest,
wherever.
people who have number ones, number twos, they're just not totally fulfilled. So then, like, how do you know you have the tools to totally fulfill this person?
Right.
When you only been in this role as the number two, you haven't had to deal with the other things that come being number one, the bills, the stress.
My thing is like, you lose them the same way you get them. So if it wasn't off of honest values, like he saw you and wasn't in a situation and said, hey, I'm interested, and you actually snagged him away from somebody, you can lose them the same way. And it typically happens. Yeah. Yeah. Because of the foundation.
Yeah. How can you eclipse somebody at work in terms of being the star performer? Like, even though
for that reason, I think you should just get to know exactly the expectations of the manager, or the expectations of what they look forward for their employees to achieve. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I think if you didn't develop a relationship with your boss who you're trying to impress or become number one, actually see if it aligns first with your personality, and then see that if you can make those corrective actions or changes to be number one in their eyes. Because number one is subjective. True. Because I feel like I'm number one all the time. But then why? I'm not going to feel number two because you tell me I feel number two. Yeah. No, I'm number one. Yeah. So I guess that's why I don't really have experience with being number two, because if you don't treat me like number one, I'm out. I'm going to go find someone who's going to treat me like number one.
Got it. Okay,
and that's what people who are not side chicks do.
Yeah, and I think that is the way your brain is set up. Is you have
my esteem?
You have a demand.
I don't have a demand. It's just that I know what I want.
Right. I mean, demand is not really a negative, but you have an expectation of getting number one time, number one consideration, treatment, and all those things.
Well, I also feel like if you are planning to try to be the main chick, which I don't suggest, I just think that like you should have a conversation about intentions, about where you want to be with that person or where you want that person to be with you, to see what you should do. Yeah. So, and I just don't feel like, as I've stated in other episodes, I just don't feel like you should put your eggs in one basket. I think you should have a mentourage. You should continue to date people, even if it's someone in your lineup. Like, say you dating 3 guys, and number 2 you like the most. I think you should continue to date others for over a time period until there's an exclusive conversation or an intentions conversation.
I agree.
It's like if someone say, "Hey, I want to exclusively date you only," or I want to get to know you further, and then you can open up, the door to say, what does that mean? What does that look like for you? Because then you can then say, okay, you're willing to make a different level of exclusivity commitment to me.
Yeah. Okay. I want to talk to you about this show that I watched over the weekend with my wife.
Tell me.
It's on Netflix. It's called Love is Blind. Have you seen it?
Yes. I watched that. Yes. So I love social experiments.
I'm glad that you saw it.
I love social experiment shows.
So now we can talk. So you watched 3 episodes, or you watched the whole thing?
No, I'll probably watch more. I don't know. I just let it play and I watch it. Yeah.
No, that's fine. Okay. So what are your thoughts? Okay. So the premise of the show is. Yeah. In the beginning, the courting part, you have a set of men, a set of women, and you have these pods where they could go and talk, and the goal is to find a mate without having visual aid to ever see them. And the goal is to build a connection. You're going to talk to multiple people, and eventually start setting appointments throughout the day to talk to the ones that you feel like you have the best connection. Okay. And hopefully when it's time, so then you have to make a proposal without seeing them. A marriage proposal, not like the Big Bang. So you propose through a wall, glass wall, whatever.
How crazy is this world?
Yeah, and if the woman accepts it, if the guy accepts it, then you guys get to meet and see each other face to face, and that's now when.
So you meet your husband at the proposal.
And
your fiance, rather.
Your fiance at the proposal, and you never seen them. So, but by that time you have already falling for them because this is like instant love. We're constantly talking, and people are actually falling in love, crying, and sharing very intimate,
emotional connections
stuff
with someone they never met.
Right. Okay. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so then after that, then there's another phase, but we're talking before we get into the next phase, which is having to go on a vacation together, then live together, and the honeymoon. So
pre-honeymoon, rather.
Yeah, before actually walking down the aisle, there's the vacation together as well as the meeting your circle and going home and trying to live together for a week or whatever. So, what is your thought about the show initially, like just the premise of it?
Well, okay. So here's my thought.
First, let me ask you: is love blind?
Yes.
Okay.
It can be. It depends. That's my new answer from now on. It depends. I'm still like a true lawyer that I'm not. So this show reminds me of Married at First Sight.
Correct.
There's this show that's called Married at First Sight, and the difference is that you don't get to talk to the person until you're at the altar marrying them. Right. This situation is like at least you get to have a conversation. You just go. You're basically going on legit blind dates. Like you can't see the person.
Correct.
Whereas in Married at First Sight, you're actually meeting your husband at the altar or your wife at the altar,
based on who the
experts. So based on
right.
a pastor, right. Based on a psychiatrist, based on a psychologist, like all those type of experts will match you up based on their interview of you. Mm-hmm. So I thought this experiment was interesting because I'm a few episodes in, or more than a few, and I'm looking at the dynamics because I always can predict these things. It's so crazy.
Right. Absolutely, I was predicting.
I all think it's ridiculous. Like I really do.
Okay.
I think it's a little ridiculous only because Married at First Sight is a little ridiculous because I didn't get to see the person. And although emotional and all these other values and things matter, you still need to be attracted to the person on all levels. Because it's even in the Bible. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I mean, like, I got to use my eyes too,
Okay.
But all this is going back to similar to arranged marriages.
Let's look at the social experiment for what it is. What it is.
Okay.
So it's the people who are participating is challenging them to look past the physical features, the attraction, and to actually have this psychological, emotional connection
without seeing physical,
being biased.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You're without your biases kicking in.
Yep.
So, which biases are, if he's 5'6", I don't want to talk to him.
Yeah. Yep.
Or if he has bald head, or if she has freckles.
But I would talk to you. If I was on Love is Blind, I would ask you those questions. See, I think when you
but if you play it the right way,
because you should be.
Should you? Okay.
Now I would do that for Love is Blind. Like I would I could do that experiment more so Married at First Sight.
Okay, let's not even talk about Marriage at First Sight. Let's just talk Love is Blind.
Love is Blind. I could actually see myself because you can ask questions to that person. Now, granted, it's no different than you asking questions to someone that you can see. It's just that you can't see this person.
Okay, so if you're in the pod and you can't see the person you talk to, what are the main things you're trying to figure out?
I would try to figure out some of the physical attributes.
But then you're cheating the
system.
No,
I'm joking. No.
Okay.
So, because I'm not. So looks, I don't have a type, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's more so about I still want to know, just as I want to know everything else. More so, emotional connection is more important to me than physical.
Right. Okay. So,
but I still want to be attracted to that person physically.
So how would you play this game?
I would ask them questions.
Or could you not even play it?
I don't know if I would be a good candidate for it, but
I don't think you would.
Because they probably preference before they start that they should not ask physical questions. They probably tell them that because I noticed that no one on the show asks physical questions. Did you notice that?
You should not.
I think you should. But moving on, I feel like if I was to play it or be in the pod, I would ask them stuff about their background or their relationship with their family or their career or ambitions. I would ask them okay, what book did you read this year or last month? Or what are some of the things you enjoy doing when you're not working? Or what's your social level? What do you do after hard days of work? I would have questions of their personality.
Can you fall in love with somebody without seeing them?
I think it's a possibility that you can. Because
not America.
So I don't think
I'm saying, can you?
Oh, me
fall in love with somebody without seeing them?
I don't think I'm experienced that, so I can't say. But I think you fall in love with the idea of the person. Because it's a different, and what I'm saying is because anyone can feed you anything before you actually interact with them.
There's people who have pen pals, and they don't even get to hear their voice.
Right.
And they fall in love with the writing. They fall in love with the words that they use, the descriptions, and things like that.
Right.
But you have to be.
But that's the idea of the person.
You have to be vulnerable.
Yes.
You have to be open.
Yep.
To it.
Mm-hmm. Which happened on the show. But everybody was vulnerable and open, which was surprising to me.
But are you vulnerable enough as a person to let down the physical guard?
I'm vulnerable as a person to let down physical because I'm not physical attraction isn't at the top of my scale.
Okay, right.
So the thing is for me is like because I don't have a type, it doesn't bother me. But I can see someone who has a type and always go after their type like not subconsciously. Sometimes because you have a type so much, I've seen people go after those type of people all the time. And they don't know that they're doing it subliminally when they're meeting or dating people.
Okay.
But I don't have a type, so everybody is different.
Let's go over that part.
Okay.
So, because there was a character on the show. It was a lady, I think she was a Caucasian lady, and she was 34 years old. I can't remember her name. Okay, but you remember that person. Yes,
and she has a younger
guy? Younger guy. And the guy is 10 years junior.
Yes.
Right, so that person she's used to going for a certain type of guy.
Yep.
And you could tell that type without even seeing them, just by their aura, the way they carry themselves through conversation.
Yes.
There's a certain confidence,
there's
a level
maturity,
of maturity as well as just banter.
Yep.
But that's what you normally go for.
What you mean? Like,
I mean, for her, that's what she normally goes for.
Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So therefore, you've been following your heart your whole time, and that has not worked out. Right. So shouldn't you now start using your head more and maybe...
Agreed.
Okay.
So I agree with that even with me dating. Like, I feel like when I date people, if I'm not something of their normalcy or anyone that they've met, they try to box me into what they have met before or dated. And I say, that's interesting because you say you want these things, but what are you willing to do? Or are you really open to dating someone else that does not fit into that box that you're used to?
Right.
So you kind of like self-sabotaging before you even get to know the person because you're so... I don't think we recognize how accustomed to our own things that we are until we meet something outside of that. And then we say, I'm open. And then you're like, well, no, you're not actually because you keep comparing this person to something new instead of just actually being open to the possibilities.
So that couple that we're talking about, so we're going to break down this couple.
Yes.
And because it ties
I want to talk about some other couples.
Okay, yeah, I definitely want to talk about that other couple too. Yeah, but this particular couple, so because this couple ties in with our topic. The reason why I say that because there was this girl.
Number two. Oh yeah, because she this does. Good job, David.
So there was this 34-year-old lady and there was another 24-year-old guy, and the 24-year-old guy she has some reservations. One was the age, and mainly really was the age, but then also the style. They were from the same place, which was Chicago, which brought a common ground.
Right.
But ultimately, she had her eye on somebody else who was older, like 27 years old. He was more, I'm not going to say, I would say he's more confident, but more confused as well. Because he has more options.
So you're saying the one that she initially liked...
Correct, yeah.
...was the one that actually she did not get a proposal from. But
correct.
But how old was he? Was he older?
No, he was he was older than the
younger guy.
Yeah, he's like 27, 28.
Right. I was trying to remember because I thought he was just as young. He acted young to me, so that's why.
Correct. And he had issues too.
So he has a lot of issues.
Lots of issues. So
basically one, just to describe the characters, one is like a jock. Like you can tell he's always like the popular person, has always probably been the star athlete, just that guy. Was the other guy, you can tell he's a little bit more reserved and younger. Younger than the jock, but the jock is the immature person, of course, because he's got a big head and always been told or been the likable person, because he had a lot of people in the past that liked him, a lot of women.
Correct. And even though the guy was 24, he was very more sure about himself and what he wants to do and what he brings to the table.
And that will matter to me.
Right.
The age wouldn't matter.
Right.
The only thing that I want to make sure is that you've been in love before and had a broken heart.
So this girl was stuck between, the jock and I'm going to say the hard worker. So the jock and hard worker.
Yes.
And she had an inkling that maybe the jock will work out. And the jock is her normal type, but she just wanted, in her comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
The hard worker thought, he had it in with the girl and thought that this was a lock and he was pouring his heart out. She ends up not accepting his initial offer,
proposal.
Proposal.
This is an engagement.
Yeah. And because she had her hopes built, fixed on the jock.
Well, because the jock told her.
Yeah, the jock, he had mixed messages. He liked whoever that he talked to last.
That's true.
Right. He was
gone for
stuck
the calls,
between three girls, and he
down for the calls.
Whoever they talked to last. So the guy was rejected. The hard worker was rejected.
Mm-hmm.
He was not her first choice. She ends up trying to go back to the jock. The jock like, oh, I'm still unsure. Sorry, don't wait on me.
Yep. Go to the next girl.
So the girl's hurt, and she ends up going back to the hard worker, and they end up making it work. I was like, no, from there, because just the way I'm taught, the way I'm raised. You're in this situation, she was not. So it's always gonna be something in the back of her head, like I'm not initially attracted to this person, so until she exhausts that other feeling that she has for this other guy, it's always going to come up.
Well, I feel like it left her no choice. She didn't really have a choice because the jock turned her down. Yeah. So she was like, well,
either go home
I'm going to find somebody.
Right.
So she went to the next person. And I feel like that happens in real life too.
Absolutely.
You agree?
Yeah.
Like I feel like sometimes people take the person who's most persistent than the person they actually like. Or that they actually attracted to,
right?
Or if they can't,
or even vice versa. Sometimes they take. There's a person that constantly wants you because they want to adore you, so they're chasing you. But because the chase, sometimes people want the things that they can't have.
Well, sometimes, and this is, I feel this. So myself and others, friends of mine, feel this way about men. They don't feel like men necessarily marry the woman that they want. They necessarily marry the woman at the time that they're ready to get married. I don't know how true this is because I don't really have experience in this, but I've been told this, and a lot of people say that. And I've had men say...
Okay, say that again.
Like, they don't necessarily marry the person that they actually want. It's just that the person was around at the time they were ready to get married.
Right, but I think with that, just pulling the thread on that, it's like they may marry somebody who they want at that time, but at that time they may not be sure about themselves.
Right, but that still don't mean that you're actually marrying someone you actually want.
Correct. Or somebody who's your
your soulmate, or connect. You connect with them emotionally and physically. You just marrying them because they're around at the time. You're like, okay, this is what I want to do, and this person's here. I feel like the people who do that with relationships, not just men.
Yeah.
They just kind of say, oh, well, you're here. Let me get in the relationship. They don't kind of angle it and be like, no, I don't really want this, so I'm out. Right. But going back to Love is Blind, with that couple, I don't know how many episodes are you in? Because I'm sure I'm further than you, probably.
They're at home now, about to meet the family.
Oh, you're further than me. Wow. Okay. So I'm not that far yet. Okay. I haven't got that far into the episodes, but I think that'll be the next episode for me.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah.
So with that relationship with her and the younger guy, I think it's gonna be it's becoming very cantankerous.
Yeah, that's not gonna work. Okay, so let's talk about when they saw each other.
Yeah.
Okay, so they decided, they saw each other.
Yeah.
And their embrace was different.
Yes,
remember?
It was he was totally into her.
Yeah, he's emotionally
he there.
All in.
Yeah. It's a little creepy for me. It's creepy for me to watch them say I love you so much.
Yeah.
I just cringe.
I'm with you on that. So then she was all in. She saw him, and it wasn't her norm.
No.
It wasn't her norm. But they still greeted each other. They accepted the proposal, but as they started being around each other more, her bias kicked in where she's not physically attracted to the guy.
Well, she's the only person that don't want to be intimate with this person on their vacation. to get to know each other.
Because she's not physically attracted. She can't get over the physical attraction.
I think that's what it is. I think if she would have said, I don't want to be physically attracted because we're going to be there anyway, let's do this a few weeks from now, it would have been a different acceptance, because it would have been like, I want to create emotional connection with you or connection with you because I've never saw you. Right. Whereas typically when you date someone, you see them, you get to develop that. Right. You know what I mean?
And I think people could grow on people. You're not always initially physically attracted to the person that you're with. Sometimes their personality grows. Sometimes they're just,
They say that. I don't think it's physical attraction that grows on you. I think it's just a person overall personality that grows on you that makes you become a little bit more attracted to them. But I feel like you still never become attracted to those features.
Right. So do you think this person will become attracted to?
No.
I don't think she is.
I think it's a done deal for them. It's just I don't think they're gonna really be able to get married.
They're not. I'm almost certain that they're not. And he's
a sweet guy.
And to me, but he's a sweet guy. But this is when his age kicked in.
Yep.
And I was telling my wife, I said, this is when the age kicked in by accepting her back.
By what?
By accepting her back. But that, to me, that's when the age kicked in.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, from right there, I said he has to say no because she doesn't really want him. She's just, it's a consolation. It's like, this is like...
It's a choice. It's a second choice.
This is the true second choice.
Yeah.
So then now...
But the crazy thing about it, she made him had a second choice when the ball was in his court.
Right. Yeah.
And this is what I mean by, like, he's exuded exactly what I said. He got married to the person because he was ready to get married. Like, he chose her because he was ready to get married.
Yeah.
Not because she was, what she was, sorry. For her, I guess.
Yeah.
That's just... So, okay, that couple, you know what I mean? Like,
talk about the other couple. Okay.
So there's another couple. And it's just, and the more so, my standpoint on the other couple is because it's honesty, yes, of course, and transparency. And also the fact that, like, so there's the other two couples is one couple that's a biracial, that's a mixed couple. Mm-hmm. So the one girl is African American and the other guy is Caucasian. Mm-hmm. And I guess she didn't know that he was Caucasian until she had an inkling, but I don't think she knew that he was. So for her, as they're on their they met up, they had physical attraction with each other. But for her, she always said, like, I would have not saw this person, or I would have never, like, given this person a second thought. And I don't think he would have done the same for her either. To be honest,
I think he dated black girls before.
You think so? I don't think he would have done that. I don't think she would have been sought after if he saw her in the room. Okay. I just don't. So with that, she's more so concerned about how her family will accept him as not being within her ethnic background, which I found is interesting because it's just like people go through this every single day. Like, this is nothing new but it's just like she's so concerned because she's now she has to feel like, dang, this person and I really vibe. We have a lot of connection emotionally, mentally, and I'm physically attracted to him. And I like him, but what I've been doing otherwise with him, because she said she never did outside of her race, outside of her ethnic background. This is new to her, but it didn't work out. Now she has someone who's actually, like, all in.
Right.
And what I thought was important and very pertinent was when he said, obviously, we're going to potentially one day have kids, and they're going to be mixed race children. They're going to have a little bit harder than others, and we're going to have to explain that to them. I was like, what you talking about? Get this guy right here, because he already understands. Yeah, it's different when you act like there isn't an issue. Right. Then you saying, like, this is the reality, but we got to figure out how to make it work. That's the person you want in general, not just because of this circumstance, Yeah,
that relationship's going to work out. I think that one's going to work out. I think the maturity of both is there.
Yes. So the other relationship, I'll let you explain the other.
I thought.
Oh, you want me to?
I thought that was the one that you wanted.
So the other relationship was it was a black guy and a black girl.
Yes.
And they were talking in the pods. They had, made a connection or whatever, and he proposed to her on the other side of the pod. Mm-hmm. But she said yes. They went to their little resort and had a good time, and she was embracing him. And then he had a secret.
Yes.
That he did not tell her while getting to know her when they were blinded in the pods.
Right.
He told her that basically he has had relations with men as well as women.
Right.
She did not take too well to that because she felt that he was actually not being honest about his relations, his past relations.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that? Because I think that's interesting because...
You think it's interesting?
No, go ahead. I want you to tell me.
No. I mean, I think he should have said something during the when they couldn't see each other. Because he flipped it. He tried to make himself into the victim.
Yep, he did.
And out of all the characters on the show, that's the one I dislike the most.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Just because of not being honest.
Mm-hmm.
Not being honest.
Not even being honest, more so transparent.
Not being transparent.
Yeah.
And like, if this is who you are, show who you are.
Yep.
And I'm actually proud about her and her reaction. I stand by her reaction.
Oh, she did a good job.
Yeah. And I feel like she was open. I feel like she asked the right questions.
She did. She did.
And I feel like
I actually like her character. Yeah, I really like her.
And I feel like she deserved, out of everybody that I watched, I want her to win. And I feel like she deserved the best. Even though, it's not going to work out. It didn't work out. But the main thing is just, what bothered me the most is how he flipped to try to be the victim.
Yes, that bothered me. That bothered me the most is because I feel like that's my experience with a lot of black men.
Okay.
Is that they always play the victim role. No one takes responsibility.
Okay.
And I feel like the moment that you get something different or new or have a relationship that you actually want that's different is when you take responsibility for your actions and your words. Like he knew he wasn't as transparent as he could have been because of why he was feeling so like, I have something to tell you. I know you're going to look at me differently. Everyone has always looked at me different. Like he preferenced that conversation with that.
Yeah.
So he knew that she would possibly have a major issue with it.
Right. And it's unfair to the game, because it's a game, to the show. It's unfair, even though the show producers knew they did this on purpose. Yeah. That's another thing. I know they
probably set this up on purpose.
They set this up on purpose.
You think so?
Yeah, and to put them in a bad light, that culture in a bad light. But
I don't know if the show did it, but if they did, it was genius. And the reason why it was genius is because this is what happened. I didn't find it was any different than dating someone and them not telling you who they are.
True. I mean,
until later, or you finding out.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was realistic, even if they didn't mean to do that. Or if he prefaced and told them, like, no, I don't want to.
Because sometimes you can hold stuff. It can be, I'm holding that. I got 8 kids, and I didn't tell you until you fell in love with me.
Yes.
Or I live with my mom.
I got a kid on the way.
I got a kid on the way. I don't got no job. Or there's all kind of things.
There's a lot of stuff
that people withhold. Yes. That they think that is going to change the opinion of the person that they're seeking.
But you're right. And if they don't tell them and let them fall in love with the idea of them, that they will excuse those flaws. No, those are considered deal breakers for certain people, and you can't take their right to choose.
And that you can't take the right to choose, and this is who you really are.
Yes.
I mean, you can't say that this is not, or at least what you were.
Right.
But to me, it's still who he is.
And this is why, so David was saying that I'm sometimes too real, right?
Yeah.
I feel like this is why I'm real, because I know what I'm getting. And I feel like if you approach the situation with being real and the other person isn't, then you're not giving me the same energy. I don't need you here.
True.
You see what I mean?
Right. True.
Like I think what he did was manipulative.
True.
Like he knew that he should have said that because of his experiences. Even if she would accept it, he should have still said that because of his experiences.
Correct.
Him not saying that is also like a slap in the face, because it's like, oh, you're just going to sit here and manipulate me and I'm not going to do anything about it?
Correct.
I'm out.
Correct. And that's when, as a man, you got to be confident in your game. You got to be confident in who you are and what you bring to the table.
And that's why I don't like online dating.
I mean, it's like,
because he is a person that has had issues with that, and he did that because he's had issues with it. You see what I mean? But I think if he was up, like he did that because he knew that he would not be able to see the person. They would not be able to catch anything else to ask or question or wonder.
Right.
And he did that because he said, I've experienced this.
Yeah. And really, it's fraud. At the end of the day.
It is. Yep. That's exactly what it is.
At the end of the day, it's fraud. Because you have projected to be, or false advertisement.
Yes.
Because you have projected to be this person and to have this liking, and then you come to the table saying, hey, no, this is not actually the full me.
And I think that's the importance of asking the right questions.
You got to ask the right questions.
So, like, those are questions I would ask. Have you ever had relations with someone of the same sex? Like, that's a question I would ask. Because, and that should have been a question for her, too.
Unfortunately, I guess that is a question you have to ask.
No, seriously, you do. You have to ask those things if you're concerned about them. If they're concerned for you, because think about it. If something else was a concern from you, you have no problem with asking.
Okay, let me
like if someone say, "Oh, you got kids?" This is the first question somebody asks if they don't want a person who don't have kids, right? So it's the same thing. It's just that people think like, "Oh, that's personal." All this shit personal. Like, ask all the questions. Then who are you lying to? Like,
you gotta be who you are because who you are is gonna show up,
right?
Eventually.
Yes.
Yeah, it may not show up on date number 2, but by date 12, yeah.
And that's why I am real. No, because I want to know. I'm not going to sit here and play myself. You play yourself when you don't ask those things. Look what he did. He tried to play her. He thought she wasn't going to. The thing is, he responded that way because he was being very defensive. She was very, very, very intelligent. She was very, very, like, to the point. She didn't show any emotional regard until he disrespected her. And I understood that because it was like, I'm sitting here trying to understand you. Mm-hmm. And then even when he said, he had the audacity to say, well, last night she was like consoling and rubbing me on my back. And I'm thinking she had time to think about, like, why didn't you tell her this?
Right.
That's what happened.
Yeah, and she was supporting you through that moment.
Yes.
But then you have to give her time to digest it and go back and, hey, why didn't he tell me? Didn't he kind of just lie to me?
Yep.
But he's not, He's
not taking responsibility for
back to what you're saying.
Yes.
Right. Not taking responsibility.
He's not taking responsibility. And I feel like you won't get anything different. You don't change if you don't. No change will happen if you don't accept what's going on.
Yeah. Accept the consequences. I think, like I said, stand by who you are. I mean,
so I think we should close out on that because we can go on and on about this. We might have to do another follow up or something or continuation. Yeah. We'll have to figure this out. But should we leave the quote question of the day? Given this, like, would you Okay. Let me just switch this to work. So even like doing an interview, have you ever like just lied? Like, hey, I am an expert at this, but people really lie all the time on their resume.
Right. So that's normal.
Yes.
Okay.
But see, and that's what I mean by like you can't decide what matters more to you because a lie is a lie.
And it will be revealed that you don't know Excel or you don't know the formula for this or you know, I mean, but that's something that can be taught and understand. But these other things are just more or less it's more tangible because it's
not that they're tangible. It's more so like values.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Like work necessarily doesn't conflict with values of your resume.
But we do false advertisement in our interview.
But like you said, it can be done. It can be taught. Right. I can take a class before, or I can take a class in the midst of and learn it. Okay. You can't change someone's past.
Okay, so the question today, that what I want to hear from our viewers and listeners.
Okay.
What is the worst
bamboozle you received?
Correct. Yeah. What's the worst news that you received, or somebody swayed you? Or they told you last minute after you fell for them that I'm actually
have you been manipulated
for 2 years? You know, I'm actually out on bond or something. You know, wait for me. You know, like what is it?
How can we bottle this up in the question? Okay, have you been manipulated? Or has someone false advertised? I think we asked that question in the previous episode. Though, have someone false advertised themselves to you?
Yeah,
and you
found out you fell for them.
Yeah, after you fell for them. Wow.
Because that's what the trick is. You can lie to me on the date 1.
Yeah.
But day 2, day 2, now you tell me you got kids. Now you tell me you've been divorced. Okay, this is day 2. But not after I have.
What's the same with people who talk about kids on day 2? Yes, let us know. We want to know. This will be interesting. Call us on the crisis hotline. Work crisis hotline. It's live. Call us. Okay. Until next time. That's all for today's episode of Work Spouse.
We would love for you to subscribe and leave a review. We welcome all feedback.
Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at WorksPousePod or email us with any questions at thyworkspouse@gmail.com. That's THYWOR